What does it take for a trusted news anchor to lose their coveted spot on primetime television?
Who else enjoyed watching Tucker Carlson? What about Charlie Rose? These anchors seem to be at the top of their game, delivering the news and entertaining audiences day after day. But one day, all that changed. They were suddenly fired, leaving viewers shocked and wondering what could have gone wrong. What happened behind the scenes that led to their downfall? Now, we finally know why these 15 anchors on this list were fired. Want to find out the truth? Keep watching. We are starting with Kimberly Guilfoyle, who left Fox News in July 2018 under a cloud of controversy. Guilfoyle, known for co-hosting The Five, departed after the network launched an investigation into accusations of sexual misconduct. Among the claims were allegations that she had shared inappropriate photos of male genitalia with co-workers, something her lawyer firmly denied. Despite the serious nature of the accusations, Guilfoyle didn't stay out of the spotlight for long. Soon after her departure, she shifted gears and joined forces with her boyfriend, Donald Trump Jr., to work on former President Donald Trump's 2020 re-election campaign. Guilfoyle became a high-profile figure at campaign events, where her fiery speeches and unwavering support of the Trump family garnered attention. While the campaign didn't lead to the outcome they hoped for, Guilfoyle maintained her status as a prominent conservative voice. Though her exit from Fox was rocky, Guilfoyle's political connections and high-profile relationship kept her firmly in the public eye, showing that a scandal can sometimes be just another chapter in the life of a media personality. Next, we have Brian Williams. He was once a trusted face in American living rooms, delivering the news with confidence and authority. But a single story would unravel his career and credibility in ways no one could have predicted. It all began with his account of an incident during the Iraq War in 2003. Williams claimed he was aboard a Chinook helicopter that came under enemy fire. It was a gripping tale of danger and bravery, but there was just one problem. It was not true. Military personnel who were there that day began to question Williams's version of events. As the story gained traction, the spotlight turned on the respected anchor. Under pressure, Williams admitted he had made a mistake. He said he was actually in the following helicopter, not the one that was attacked. He apologized for getting the facts wrong, blaming it on faulty memory, but the damage was done. NBC News, his longtime employer, took swift action. They suspended Williams without pay for 6 months. The once unassailable anchor found himself in a fight for his professional life. In June 2015, NBC delivered the final blow. Williams would not return to his coveted role as anchor of NBC Nightly News. It was a stunning fall from grace for a man who had spent a decade at the helm of one of America's most watched news programs. Williams would later find a new home at MSNBC as a breaking news anchor, but the incident left an indelible mark on his once stellar reputation. Do you remember Ed Henry? He seemed to have it all. A prominent position at Fox News and a reputation as a skilled journalist. But behind the scenes, a storm was brewing that would soon engulf his career. On July 1st, 2020, Fox News made a shocking announcement. Henry had been fired. The reason? Accusations of sexual misconduct that sent shockwaves through the media world. The trouble began when a former employee's lawyer approached the network with disturbing allegations. Fox News executives claimed they acted quickly, pulling Henry off the air and launching an investigation. But this was just the beginning of Henry's troubles. Jennifer Eckhart, the employee who had filed the initial complaint, later dropped a bombshell. In a federal lawsuit, she accused Henry of assault. Her allegations were chilling. She claimed he had coerced her into sexual activities, assaulted her on company property, and even forcefully took advantage of her in a hotel room in 2017. Eckhart's words revealed a man who abused his power and position. She spoke of feeling powerless, fearing Henry could destroy her career if she spoke out. The lawsuit described a pattern of abusive behavior, including graphic messages and threats. For Fox News, Henry's termination was a pivotal moment. The network had faced criticism in recent years for its handling of sexual harassment claims. Now, they were forced to confront another high-profile case that threatened to tarnish their reputation even further. Our next ex-anchor is Charlie Rose. He was a titan of American journalism, a respected figure whose career spanned decades. But in November 2017, his world came crashing down in a matter of days. The Washington Post published a bombshell report that would change everything. 8 women had come forward with accusations of sexual misconduct against Rose. The allegations were shocking and spanned years, from the late 1990s to 2011. Women who had worked for Rose or aspired to work for him described a pattern of inappropriate behavior. They spoke of unwanted sexual advances, obscene phone calls, and even instances where Rose allegedly walked around naked in their presence. Some claimed he had groped them. The accusers ranged in age from 21 to 37 at the time of the alleged incidents. The response from Rose's employers was swift and decisive. CBS News president David Rhodes announced Rose's immediate termination. Rhodes emphasized that providing a safe workplace was the network's top priority, and Rose's alleged actions were deemed intolerable. PBS, where Rose had hosted a long-running interview show, also cut ties with the veteran journalist. Rose himself issued an apology, expressing deep embarrassment for his behavior. He admitted to acting insensitively at times, but disputed the accuracy of some allegations. Nonetheless, the damage was done. In a matter of days, Rose's 45-year career in television had come to an abrupt end. But the list keeps going. Next, we see Chris Cuomo. His world turned upside down in December 2021. The CNN anchor, known for his sharp interviews and family connections, found himself at the center of a storm that would cost him his job. The trouble began when new documents came to light, revealing Cuomo's involvement in his brother's political crisis. Andrew Cuomo, then the governor of New York, was facing multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. As the scandal unfolded, it became clear that Chris had been more than just a supportive brother. He had allegedly used his media contacts to gather information about his brother's accusers and the ongoing investigation by the state attorney general. CNN initially suspended Cuomo on December 1st, but the situation quickly escalated. Just 3 days later, on December 4th, the network announced his immediate termination. The decision came after an internal investigation found that Cuomo had violated journalistic ethics by advising his brother's staff on how to handle the growing scandal. For Cuomo, the firing was a devastating blow. In an interview with the New York Times, he described the experience as extremely distressing, but he wasn't going down without a fight. Cuomo launched a legal battle against CNN, seeking a staggering $125 million in damages. He claimed the network had used him as a scapegoat, unfairly tarnishing his reputation in the process. Our next anchor story is a perfect example of how quickly a long-standing career can crumble. Matt Lauer, once the beloved face of NBC's Today Show, saw his world turn upside down in late November 2017. The #MeToo movement was gaining momentum, fueled by the shocking revelations about Harvey Weinstein. Little did Lauer know, he would soon become another high-profile casualty of this cultural reckoning. The hammer fell when a co-worker submitted a formal complaint against Lauer, accusing him of sexually inappropriate behavior on the job. NBC wasted no time, launching an immediate investigation, but this was just the tip of the iceberg. As the story unfolded, accusations dating back to 2014 came to light, painting a disturbing picture of Lauer's conduct. One of the most serious allegations came from Brooke Nevels, a former NBC employee. She recounted a harrowing incident during the Sochi Winter Olympics, accusing Lauer of sexually assaulting her in his hotel room. Nevels claimed she was too intoxicated to consent, while Lauer maintained their interactions were consensual. As the scandal grew, more women stepped forward, suggesting a pattern of harassment that had apparently been tolerated at NBC for years. Next on our list is a figure known for his sharp tongue and controversial opinions. Piers Morgan's departure from Good Morning Britain in March 2021 was as dramatic as his on-screen persona. The catalyst? A heated exchange with co-host Alex Beresford over comments Morgan made about Meghan Markle following her explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey. Morgan had never hidden his dislike for Markle, but his reaction to her interview crossed a line for many viewers. On air, he angrily declared that he didn't believe her accounts of her struggles within the royal family, including her mental health challenges. The backlash was swift and severe. Mental health charity Mind expressed deep concern, and broadcasting regulator Ofcom was flooded with over 41,000 complaints. The incident put ITV in a difficult position, especially given their recent launch of the Britain Get Talking mental wellness campaign. After discussions with the network, Morgan made the decision to leave Good Morning Britain. But Morgan's story didn't end there. Less than 2 years later, he launched Piers Morgan Uncensored on Talk TV, owned by media mogul Rupert Murdoch. However, this new venture faced its own challenges. In February 2024, Morgan announced he was shifting focus to his digital platform, primarily YouTube. Reports suggested that poor viewership numbers were behind this move, further underscoring the changing landscape of broadcast media. The next anchor's career took an unexpected nosedive due to a single ill-timed comment. Ken Rosato, a familiar face on ABC7 for 2 decades, found himself at the center of a controversy in May 2023. It all started with a hot mic incident that would cost him his job and tarnish his reputation. During a break in filming, when Rosato thought he was off air, he made an inappropriate remark about his co-anchor, Shirlene Alicott. Unknown to him, the comment was picked up in the control room. Management's response was swift and decisive. Rosato was fired almost immediately after the incident came to light. Initially, there were rumors that Rosato had used a racial slur, but his representatives quickly denied these claims. They insisted that Rosato was a champion of equality throughout his life and career. Nonetheless, the damage was done. Within hours of the incident, AB7 had scrubbed Rosato's biography from their website, erasing his 20-year legacy at the station. The next chapter in our exploration of fallen anchors takes us to one of the most controversial figures in cable news history. Bill O'Reilly, once the undisputed king of primetime at Fox News, saw his empire crumble in April 2017. Why, you may ask? A damning report in the New York Times that exposed a pattern of sexual harassment allegations spanning years. O'Reilly's downfall wasn't swift. It was the culmination of years of accusations and secret settlements. The Times report revealed that Fox News had paid out approximately $13 million to at least 5 women who had accused O'Reilly of sexual harassment or inappropriate behavior. These settlements often came with strict confidentiality clauses, effectively silencing the victims. The allegations against O'Reilly were serious and varied. Some women claimed he made lewd comments and unwanted sexual advances. Others spoke of a hostile work environment where complaints were met with threats of retaliation. Despite the gravity of these accusations, O'Reilly had managed to keep his job for years, largely due to the massive ratings and revenue his show, The O'Reilly Factor, generated for Fox News. But the Times report changed everything. As public pressure mounted and advertisers began pulling their support, Fox News was forced to act. After a thorough review of the allegations, the network announced that O'Reilly would not be returning. Our next story takes us back to 2010, when a single interview derailed the career of CNN anchor Rick Sanchez. It was October, and Sanchez was a guest on SiriusXM's Stand Up with Pete Dominic. What started as a routine interview quickly spiraled into controversy when Sanchez made a series of inflammatory remarks about comedian Jon Stewart and the media industry at large. Sanchez began by calling Stewart a bigot, but he didn't stop there. He went on to claim that Stewart, along with others who ran CNN and other networks, were part of an elite Northeast establishment that looked down on people like himself. Sanchez, who is of Cuban descent, suggested that Stewart's program was biased against anyone who didn't share his white liberal establishment point of view. But it was Sanchez's comments about Jewish people that truly crossed the line. He questioned whether Jews should still be considered an oppressed minority, implying that they held too much power in the media. I'm telling you that everybody who runs CNN is a lot like Stewart, and a lot of people who run all the other networks are a lot like Stewart, Sanchez said, and to imply that somehow the people in this country who are Jewish are an oppressed minority. Yeah, the backlash was immediate. Just one day after the interview aired, CNN announced that Sanchez was no longer employed by the network. The incident became fodder for comedians, including Stewart himself, who joked about it during a subsequent comedy event. Sanchez later apologized multiple times for his careless and inartful remarks, acknowledging that they were both wrong and offensive. But the damage was done. and his controversial comments had cost him his job and reputation in the industry. But the list doesn't end here. The world of broadcast journalism has seen uncountable fallen stars, and Tucker Carlson's story is yet another chapter in this ongoing saga. In April 2023, Fox News shocked viewers and industry insiders alike by parting ways with one of its most popular and controversial hosts, Tucker Carlson. The decision sent ripples through the media landscape, leaving many to wonder what could have led to such a dramatic turn of events. Carlson had long been a lightning rod for controversy, known for his provocative content and divisive rhetoric. He frequently pushed the boundaries of acceptable discourse, often venturing into territory that many considered conspiracy theory territory. His promotion of ideas like the Great Replacement Theory and his racially charged statements had drawn increasing criticism over the years. But it wasn't just Carlson's on-air persona that caused concern. Private messages revealed during the Dominion voting system's lawsuit revealed a man who genuinely believed in the controversial ideas he espoused on camera. This revelation challenged the notion that Carlson was simply playing a character for ratings. The timing of Carlson's firing, coming in the wake of the Dominion lawsuit, led many to speculate about a connection. Some theorized that Carlson's sharp criticism of Fox News leadership during this tumultuous period may have been the final straw. A particularly troubling text message from Carlson, endorsing anti-Antifa and racially insensitive remarks shortly before the trial, could have been the tipping point, adding fuel to the fire. Leaked footage emerged both before and after Carlson's firing. These clips showed him disparaging Fox News streaming service, Fox Nation, and complaining about being asked to wear a sweater during an interview with accused sex trafficker Andrew Tate. Carlson claimed these leaks were intentional attempts by Fox News to sully his reputation, though the network vehemently denied these allegations. Despite Carlson's undeniable popularity and his status as one of Fox News' biggest stars, it seems the network's executives ultimately decided he had become more of a liability than an asset. The mounting controversies and concerns about potential damage to the network during the Dominion trial likely played a significant role in this decision. Next is the story of Don Lemon. On April 24, 2023, Lemon was abruptly fired from the network he had called home for decades. The news came as a shock to many, not least Lemon himself, who claimed he learned of his termination from his agent, rather than directly from CNN management. Lemon's firing didn't come out of the blue. However, it was the culmination of a series of controversies and incidents that had raised red flags within the network. Just weeks before his termination, Lemon had been suspended for making offensive comments about women. Specifically, he had described former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley as being past her prime. During this time, CNN mandated that Lemon undergo sensitivity training. But the troubles didn't end there. In the lead-up to his firing, Lemon faced accusations from multiple current and former colleagues about mistreating women in the workplace. Reports surfaced of inappropriate behavior towards his female co-workers, further inflaming tensions within CNN. The network, for its part, disputed Lemon's account of how his termination was handled. CNN contended that Lemon was given the opportunity to meet with management before issuing his public statement about his firing. This disagreement over the details of his departure only added to the controversy surrounding Lemon's exit. The case of Jane Acker takes us back to 1997. Ackery, an investigative reporter for WTVT, a Fox News affiliate in Tampa, Florida, found herself at the center of a storm when she refused to air a story that had been altered due to pressure from the Monsanto Corporation. Ackery and her husband, Steve Wilson, had been working on a story about RBG, a controversial milk additive manufactured by Monsanto. Their investigation uncovered potentially harmful effects of RBGH on cows and raised questions about its approval process by the FDA. As they dug deeper, they discovered links between RBGH and human cancer, realizing that millions of Americans were unknowingly consuming milk from treated cows. Just as the story was set to air in February 1997, Monsanto sent a threatening letter to Fox, claiming the report would damage the company. What followed was a battle between journalistic integrity and corporate pressure. Ackery and Wilson rewrote the story over 80 times, trying to satisfy station executives while maintaining the truth of their findings. They were pressured to include statements from Monsanto representatives that they felt were misleading. After months of threats, offers of sizable payoffs to drop their objections, and refusals to compromise their journalistic principles, Ackery and Wilson were fired on December 2, 1997, for insubordination. The station then assigned the story to another reporter, resulting in a report that Ackery and Wilson claimed was biased in favor of Monsanto. In 1998, Ackery took a bold step by filing a whistleblower lawsuit against Fox. She argued that she was fired for refusing to participate in broadcasting a false or misleading story, which she believed violated FCC policy. Initially, a jury awarded her $425,000 in 2000. However, this decision was overturned on appeal in 2003, with the court ruling that FCC policy against falsification did not constitute a law, rule, or regulation under Florida's whistleblower statute. The aftermath of this legal battle was devastating for Ackery and Wilson. Neither of them has been able to secure full-time work in television news since their case against Fox. Our next man is Eric Bolling. In September 2017, Bolling found his career derailed after allegations surfaced that he had sent unsolicited lewd text messages and photos to colleagues. The accusations, first reported by HuffPost, claimed that Bolling had sent inappropriate communications to at least 3 women at Fox Business and 1 at Fox News. Fox News took swift action, suspending Bolling pending an independent investigation by the law firm Paul Weiss. Throughout the process, Bolling vehemently denied any wrongdoing, with his attorney stating that no such unsolicited communications had occurred. Bolling even went as far as to file a $50 million defamation lawsuit against the HuffPost reporter who broke the story, though the status of this lawsuit remains uncertain. Despite his protests, the network ultimately decided to part ways with Bolling after the investigation was completed. His show, The Specialists, was canceled, marking the end of his tenure at Fox News. The final entry in our list of fallen anchors is Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly's departure from NBC is a prime example of how one comment can change everything. Back in October 2018, the former Fox News anchor found herself in hot water after defending blackface in Halloween costumes during her show. Megyn Kelly today, she remarked, "When I was a kid, that was okay, as long as you were dressing up as a character." Unsurprisingly, the backlash was swift, with colleagues and viewers condemning her statement as out of touch and insensitive, though she quickly apologized. Acknowledging the racist history of blackface, the damage was done. NBC pulled the plug on her show, and despite her hefty $69 million contract, Kelly's time with the network was officially over. It turns out, no matter how big the paycheck, a misstep on live TV can be costly. Lesson learned: some topics should never be approached lightly.